Hi, friends.
Hey.
We wanted to jump on here and address something that both of us see a lot, and I especially see with women. And there's two totally different perspectives here: the man's perspective and the woman's perspective. And what we see is that they're not meeting, and it can create a conflict that is really gets in the way of intimacy. And the question is, why aren't men doing their inner work? And why does it seem like when I bring that up, he goes to the garage?
So, no, I get that all the time in communication from women as well. And
Yeah.
I would say there are things that the feminine don't know about men, and there's some intelligence about your man not leaning in and doing the work, right? One is what I found is men's work is not like females' work, right? So a female communicates with other females, does the work, cries, feels safe, does all their processes. And with a man, it's much different, right? So the work that a man needs to do is more of like a remembering what it means to be a man among other men, right? In a community of like-minded winners. So like when we are able to sit down as men and talk and work on things and be a wolf pack to each other and kind of nudge each other and challenge each other and inspire each other, that's how the work really starts to develop and unfold for a man. So it's much different when a man feels like, oh, my wife wants me to go to therapist and go sit down in a room with a counselor who is often a female, and this female counselor and you are going to tell me why I'm bad and wrong, and all these ticks and tips and tricks to try to add more things onto my plate. That's like worst case scenario for a man who is on his mission, wanting to improve his circumstances in his situation with
Yeah,
life.
and the reality is you don't want your man to sit in a room while you talk about his problems and like make him smaller, right? That doesn't make sense. And you don't want a man to learn from a woman how to be a man. Like there's something very distorted about that and normalized. And I think that when we talk about doing the work, that's what the work appears to be, right? And
Yeah.
so I think in some ways men have just totally turned off from that. And it's like, just kind of leave me alone,
Oh,
which
without
is
a doubt,
healthy.
which is healthy.
Right. So in a way, when he's dodging you on this or turning the other way, he's keeping something intact.
Right,
there is a version of
right,
that. That's true.
right. So the piece that what men don't know or what we've forgotten collectively is like gathering with other men uh, is like the medicine. It's fun, like it's entertaining, and there's huge like parts of uh, a man's self that gets unlocked in groups, in being able to say, hey, like here's the real things that I'm dealing with in my life, in this pressure cooker of my life, and being able to share that with another man who's having a very similar experience is all of a sudden like eye-opening, just awakening, like whoa, like I'm not the only one with this flavor of problem. And there's all of a sudden hope, there's space, we go to
Right.
we
You
do
don't
work
keep a
together.
shut down. You don't have to go and keep it in the garage.
Yeah,
There's a way that it comes out, but it doesn't come out the way the woman's asking in like a way of submission. Oh, look, I am bad.
yeah,
I do have
totally,
this problem. It's not
totally.
quite like
No,
that.
and it's not like how can I pile on more things to do better, to be good. It's like how can I drop some of these old patterns and stories and things and come back to my woman uh, lighter and like
With
have with more
spaciousness,
energy, with
yeah.
some spaciousness. So the actual work, what I've experienced, in men's work, is it's actually like a peeling away and a lightening of the load instead of adding more to a man's
Right.
plate that's already like
Without
super full.
guru, without even like without the president of the wolf pack, there it doesn't exist, right? And so he doesn't have to submit. He gets to maintain his dignity. Because you look out at the world and we're trying to get men to be less masculine, and he's kind of going to the garage like, I'm not going to do that. I don't
Totally.
really know. There's no other options, and so he doesn't know that having brotherhood, chopping wood with men,
Yeah.
there is a way to clear the shadows, to acknowledge, to get the nudge when you're like,
Right.
when you're in shadow, because we are in shadow often,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And each man that shows up to this type of group, right, gets to have their own dignity, they have their own power, they stay in their world. And what the call is like, what are you bringing to the table that can up level the group, and together
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
rise.
Which is different for women, right? So if you are a woman and you're like, my husband's kind of like hiding out, he's not acknowledging this, we can't move forward. One, just recognize that you can't know if you can't know for sure that he doesn't want to do something, but you can know that what appears to be on offer is not for him currently. And that he may have deep in himself a resistance, because if you look around, if you were a man, you wouldn't want to step forward either. Like, you don't want to do the things that are designed for the feminine, or that require submission, or that require you to be off mission, right? You talk about that a lot. Like, when men enter into this kind of work, it's like they have their mission and now they got to do this thing. And you don't really want him to feel that way, because then he's confused. And right, the design of the world is to confuse. If men are confused, lost, and submitting, we're all screwed.
Without a doubt.
Right? So he's trying to maintain something. So if you want that for him, how can you support him in maintaining his dignity, integrity, and find something that he really likes? Because if your man's going to chop wood, if he's going to the woods for an overnight backpacking trip, well, I was in backpacking trip, right? You go and they're chopping wood and building their own cabin. He's a yes. And if that's his healing work, hell yeah. And it can be.
Totally.
Right? So recognize as a woman that you don't exactly know what he needs, but you can have the longing and say, I have a longing for something. And it does exist. There are ways for men, but it's not going to be your way. And so first start with respecting him, that your story about him isn't necessarily true. He's with you. He wants to be with you. He chose you, and he chose a woman that sees and feels all kinds of things that can illuminate that for him, right? But maybe rest for a moment with inquiry. And then what would you suggest for a man that feels nagged isn't the right word, but that's the word men would use.
Right.
Nagged by, I don't use that word, but it's nagged by their woman, and they're just kind of trying to keep doing their thing and keep it together.
Yeah, I would say your woman is pointing towards something. It may not be the thing, but it's like little alarm bells going off. Like, hey, like, are you on your mission? Or is your mission, is it informed by your woman's insight and her intuition and longing? So it's a call to action to check in with yourself, check in with your mission, check in with your family, and say like, okay, am I still on this right track? And if you're not, gathering with other men and getting really clear on your focus, on your mission, on what you're up to in the world, is super helpful.
And that's why you created the Unbreakable Man Project, is because there wasn't anything available.
No, there was literally nothing that wasn't like power over. I'm this special guru, come do these, these certain ways. And we all have this weird language. I'm the magician. You're the, like, stop. Like, we're dudes who have a life, that are good men, that have families, and we're on mission. And like, let's talk about the real stuff that our friends who we used to have in high school aren't talking about right now, because we've kind of outgrown that situation. So
if you are a woman, you could send him this video. If you're a man, schedule a call. You're doing the 100 Unbreakable free calls. Exactly. It's just a chat. It's not a It's much different than it seems.
It's totally different, and
it's like fun.
The 1 hour call is free, no pressure. You will walk away feeling lighter, more inspired in your life, and it's
have a different perspective on what doing the work is than you had before. That's the thing that's different, right? It's like it's fun to chop wood. It's not fun to go cry about your 7-year-old inner self. Right. Okay. All right. Big love.